It's a beautiful day for football in Ann Arbor. Big Ten football is brought to you in high definition by Philips Televisions. Well, early morning showers surprised some on their walk to the stadium and through the tailgating. It will remain at least mostly cloudy with a 30% chance of rain today. Temperature will be in the 60s, and a southeast wind at 8 miles an hour could wreak havoc on two teams who have questionable kicking games here through the first 2 games of the season. Head coach Rich Rodriguez finally has his playmaker. In his 18th season as a college head coach, he has 115 wins. Denard Robinson became a 200 man last week, the previous quarterback to do so. Rodriguez is Pat White at West Virginia. On the other side for UMass, Kevin Morris, it is his 2nd season as the head man at Amherst. 7-6 and a fantastic start to the season, including a win over ranked William and Mary in the FCS for UMass. We have learned over the years not to take FCS opponents lightly. No one knows that better than Michigan fans. When Appalachian State came in here to open the season in 2007. That was a 2-time defending national championship team, however. Appalachian State had the athletes to run with and by the Wolverines. Does UMass have the same caliber of athletes to do that today?
I believe the athletes they have are certainly up to the task. And the thing I think is so important with the majority of the FCS teams you see come into an FBS stadium and challenge, it's the senior quarterback, and the Minutemen certainly have that.
It is ahead. You want your choice in the first half, or do you want to defer to the second half? You want to receive, okay? Michigan, where do you want to kick from? You want to swing about over here, guys? Massachusetts has won the toss and will receive.
Well, Kevin Morris and his team have performed well in the past against FBS teams. Last year, I should say, they dedicated Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas, and nearly upset the Wildcats and their renewed head coach, Bill Snyder. The other question for UMass was how their players would deal with 100,000 fans, 100,000 plus here at the Big House. Coach Morris told us this week, hey, listen, we had better than 10,000 at home against Holy Cross. I just told our guys, get ready for 10 times that. That would have Route 1 backed up in Central Mass for sure. But here, it's just another day at the stadium.
And the team that he brought in here, there's enough veterans on the lineup. There's a few new players that he's got, some transfers from other schools, but there's enough age on this team where you certainly get the sense this moment is not too big for them. I believe we're going to see a hotly contested game today.
Brendan Gibbons will handle the kickoff duties for Michigan. And today's opening kickoff is brought to you by Hass Avocados. 2 good return men deep for UMass. From the 7. Out to the 25, still on his feet and all the way out to the 35-yard line. And UMass has a great starting spot to get us going. Jesse Jewel-Misty with the return. Junior college quarterback Kyle Havens leads the way. His 2nd year as the UMass starter. He had to get rid of that interception bug from last year. He threw 15 picks. And
so far this season, no interceptions for Kyle Havens. That was a big bugaboo he had last season, but with the dual running threat he had in the backfield that we touched on in the open, that certainly helped him to be able to play under control.
Havens, a 6'4 senior from Concord, California. On the ground, Jonathan Hernandez, and Hernandez breaks free for a gain of 9 on first down. Craig Rowe with the stop for Michigan. Now for the Rotel Velveeta starting offense, because you can't start your game day without their famous queso dip. Griffin and Hernandez will split time in the backfield. Scott Duggan, their fullback, is a huge Michigan fan. He had to bury his maize and blue gear at the bottom of his closet this week. 2nd and short. Hernandez still the feature back for now. And wrestles his way to the 45. If he made the line, it would be a first down. Thomas Gordon with the stop. Now for the Auto Owners Insurance starting defense for Michigan. Their stud up front is Mike Martin. 13 and a half tackles for loss, 4 sacks for the former state champion wrestler. Jonas Mouton leads the Big Ten in tackles with 10 and a half a game. And a re-energized secondary featuring former walk-on Jordan Kovacs at the safety spot. 3rd and short. Out of the aisle. Hernandez made it. First down UMass and a few more. Kevin Morris told us this week, I'm a grinder. This is a lunch pail kind of team. If it comes to push and shove, I want our team pushing.
And the team certainly fits the personality of their head coach. I really like to see Jonathan Hernandez run the football. As I watched film over the past week, he's one of these slippery running backs. Not going to run away from a bunch of people, but just needs about 6 inches of daylight, as Gail Sayers used to say.
Kyle Havens hasn't put it in the air yet. Here's play action. And on the run, he fires a dart complete. A first down to Julian Talley, and UMass in Michigan territory on their opening drive.
And they weren't gashing the Michigan defense with those first 3 run plays, but it sets up the bootleg because they have to pay attention to the fact that they've been running the football. Well-thrown ball in rhythm there from Kyle Havens.
Havens has completed 65% of his passes coming in to today's matchup. They have a very good tight end in Emil Iguanagu playing with a sore foot but on the field now. Hernandez again tries to stretch it and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Another stop for the freshman from Detroit, Thomas Gordon.
And certainly the test for Michigan's run defense this season, no matter who the opponent is, they're going to want to test that 3-man front to see, can the linebackers consistently step up and fill these holes?
Defensive coordinator Greg Robinson said Peyton Manning taught him a good lesson in terms of having guys on the field that can make every play. And Gordon, one of those hybrid players that can do different things. When Robinson was with the Kansas City Chiefs, they lost as a home favorite in the playoffs to Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. And Robinson told us yesterday it was Peyton Manning who taught him because the Chiefs got caught multiple times with 12 and 13 men on the field. And he thinks this defense he has now has enough interchangeable parts in a 3-man front that it won't happen or shouldn't happen. John Griffin into the game at tailback. Second pass, second first down. Another grab for Talley. And Julian Talley takes it inside the 20.
Greg Robinson deciding not to challenge in that moment, allowing the receivers a free release from the line of scrimmage. No pressure on the pocket right there, allows Kyle Havens to just stand tall and deliver the football. And he's got a nice group of receivers here. A couple that I mentioned transferred in from other schools, but they've been able to get on the same page very early in this season.
We have yet to see their leading receiver, Nelson. Looking that way, knocked away at the last minute, J.T. Floyd. Remember, this is a new Michigan secondary. 2 guys on the other side were wide receivers before spring ball. Floyd had that key pick in the second quarter against Notre Dame, and here he is knocking one away.
And he's the guy that really had to step up as a leader in this group after Troy Woolfolk went down in training camp.
Floyd, a sophomore from Greenville, South Carolina. Havens burns a timeout as UMass faces a 2nd and 10.
Timeout, Massachusetts. That's their first timeout.
11:21 to go in the first quarter. First possession belongs to UMass, and the Minutemen driving. No score from the Big House, 22nd ranked Michigan and UMass. If you're looking for another Big Ten Network game, go to BigTenNetwork.com/GameFinder to get the channel numbers for all of today's game. Another fantastic crowd here at the Big House, the rededicated stadium, which set a new football attendance record week 1 against UConn. UMass comes out of the timeout with no huddle. Hernandez on 2nd and long gets stuffed at the line by Jonas Mouton. 3rd and long coming up for UMass.
We're going to see a steady diet of this, but Jonas Mouton, he's a guy that can fill the run and play the pass. He's one of the more versatile linebackers in the Big Ten Conference. When he gets his nose downhill, someone leading the football better watch out.
25 straight starts now for Mouton, who leads the conference in tackles. 3rd and long. 10th play of the drive for UMass. Havens over the middle. Caught short of the first down. Mouton with another stop. The first grab for the Hofstra transfer, Anthony Nelson.
Some additional heat came from the left side of the formation on that play. Kyle Havens does a nice job just moving the pocket, but Mouton again is the man right there. We saw him make a run play on the last snap. Now there, showing the versatility. Excellent tackle and pass coverage.
UMass will bring out the kicking team. Caleb Violette, the transfer from Virginia Tech, has struggled this season, and he's been battling an injury. Twisted an ankle on a block punt last week against Holy Cross. UMass able to cap their opening drive with a 31-yard field goal. Just the second triple of the season for Caleb Violette. And Kevin Morris's team scores first after a stall in the red zone. Violette kicks UMass to an early 3-0 lead. UMass. Let's go down to the field and say hello to Lisa Byington.
Hi, Tom. We're going to get our first look at Denard Robinson, and what a story he's become here on campus. He even admitted to us this week he's getting a few extra double glances in class, and why not? You see his face everywhere on all the major newspapers, on TV. He's in the headlines. He's even in Heisman talk. Heisman talk after 2 games, but why not with those kind of numbers? And with that kind of attention, Rich Rodriguez limited his media availability to 1 hour all week. 1 hour. And Michigan wouldn't say how many media requests it got, only that it was a lot. This phenomenon, the shoelace thing, is kind of catchy. You never know, Tom, where it's going to grow on people. You like?
It accentuates your speed. There is no doubt about that. Daryl Stoneham has some speed as well. He won't get a chance. A short kick, fair caught at the 32-yard line, and that's where Shoelace will get things going. It was John McColgan, the fullback, as the upback with the catch. So the sophomore from Deerfield Beach, Florida, comes in as the nation's leading ground gainer. Not only the 2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, but the 2-time Walter Camp Award National Player of the Week. He has been sensational. Last week against Notre Dame, the 8th FBS quarterback in college football history to turn in a 200-200 game. The previous was Pat White, who of course was the breadwinner for Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. On the ground on the first play, and Vincent Smith fights to get back to the line of scrimmage. Now time for the Rotel Velveeta starting offense, because you can't start your game day without their famous queso dip. Talented receiving crew for Michigan, and up front the key to Denard's breakout performance through the first 2 games, the offensive line. Steve Schilling making his 39th career start for the Wolverines. 2nd and 10. Smith and Shaw flank Robinson. Plenty of time to throw. Over the middle and picked! A rare interception thrown by Denard Robinson. And UMass not only has the lead, but they have the football.
And Robinson had gone 72 passes in a row without an interception, leading the Big Ten Conference. All good things come to an end. And Kumar Davis off the tip right there. Denard trying to throw into double coverage, and Davis right there on the spot coming up with the pass. This is what can turn the tide of games. Do you come up with a pass deflection, or are you able to get that sudden change, putting your offense back on the field?
First turnover for Michigan this season. They have been +2 in turnover margin. A 1-yard gain on the ground for UMass. Ryan Van Bergen with the stop. John Griffin with the carry. Last year in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, UMass opened with a Caleb Violette field goal and led the Wildcats of Kansas State 3-0. Here they lead Michigan 3-0. And a pass complete for a short gain. James Rogers, the former receiver, knocks Dan Sheeran, the Syracuse transfer, out of bounds. Sheeran played for Michigan defensive coordinator Greg Robinson at Syracuse.
3rd down and 6.
And helped Greg Robinson to his key victory as the head coach. Flag on the play was holding. It will bring it back. Sheeran had a key first down grab in Syracuse's upset win on the road against Notre Dame in Greg Robinson's last year.
Seen the Minutemen offense so far, trying to change tempo. The staff talked to us about that during the week. Not only will they use the no huddle, but they'll try to change the tempo of the game, both fast and slow.
2nd and 19, bottled up at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go for John Griffin.
Griffin more the slasher in the backfield between these two running backs. He's a bigger presence in the backfield, so when he's in the game, you can count on them trying to bang away at the defensive front.
Obieze, 5th-year senior from Grand Rapids with the stop. Key part of this Michigan defense. He and Mark Moondros will share time at middle linebacker. 3rd and 18. Havens has been solid throwing the ball thus far. Michigan jumps, and they go to a draw on 3rd and 18 to Hernandez, and he picks up a couple.
Offside, defense, number 88. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Craig Rowe from his linebacker spot. He will oftentimes walk up on the line of scrimmage, and Greg Robinson told us last week he doesn't have to have his hand down to play on the line. It's on the left side of the line that time. He's one of those guys that Greg Robinson has said can do different things and is versatile enough to stay on the field.
And there's an art to what Craig Rowe does in this defense, because he's been moved from defensive end to that outside linebacker spot. And Greg Robinson told us he can put his hand on the ground in a 3-point stance. He can rush from a 2. The versatility that he adds to this defense, that's what's going to make them more effective in the future.
Well, still 3rd and long, even after the flag. 3rd and 13. Michigan brings 4. Martin almost got in there. Havens sets up behind the line. Now he has to run and has nowhere to go. Rowe drives him into the turf to bring up 4th down.
And they didn't need to bring the extra heat because of the tenacity of Craig Rowe. He chased that play down all the way from the backside of the formation. I like the decision there from Kyle Havens not to throw the ball into coverage. You can eat that, take the sack, and now you're punting to the team.
Violette to punt it away on UMass's 2nd possession. Jeremy Gallen to return, and it takes a UMass bounce, will carry all the way inside the 10. So UMass unable to take advantage of the interception, but flips the field on Michigan. The Wolverines will start their 2nd possession from their own 7. Back to Ann Arbor right after this. This fantastic campus of Michigan, the Law Quad, and nothing beats this stadium. 110,000 plus once again here in the big house, as Michigan and Denard Robinson start backed up against their own goal line. Michael Shaw in at running back. Just 2 plays on the first possession for Michigan. A zone read carry by Smith that netted nothing, and now Robinson's first carry and a burst up the middle, and he takes it for 8 on 1st down. Mike Mealy with the stop. Let's go to Dave Rebson in the studio for Discover Game Break.
Tom, thanks. Ohio State having its way with Ohio University. Terrell Pryor doing a nice job here. Buys some time. Hits Brandon Sane. 5 TD passes on the year for Pryor now. Still hasn't thrown a pick. Buckeyes on top in this one, 10-0.
Dave, thanks. Sophomore Roy Roundtree with the reception to move the chains for Michigan, but the officials huddling here after the play.
Illegal substitution, number 68 of the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It results in a 1st down.
Michigan's no huddle brings the flag from UMass. What did Greg Robinson say about how difficult it can be to defend smart quarterbacks in the spread?
And he talked about that at every level. When you can change the tempo offensively, it's tough to try to substitute when you're on defense.
First down for Michigan today. Robinson with the check. His running back is Shaw. UMass shows blitz. Here they come. Shaw up the middle, and Shaw carries a defender with him for a gain of about 6 on first down. And now for the Principal Financial Group edge to the game.
And there's no other coach in the country that's coached 2 separate quarterbacks to go 200-200 in the same game.
Robinson dropped the football, still got it away. Here goes Roundtree. Flag on the play, and Roy Roundtree takes it the distance. "73 yards if it stands." Denard Robinson dropped the snap, then recovered.
There are 2 penalties on the play, both against the offense. Illegal shift offense, penalties declined. Ineligible receiver downfield, number 50 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So they bring it back, but that illustrates what Denard Robinson can do even on broken plays.
And on a broken play like that, that's when you'll pretty often see an ineligible receiver downfield. Robinson took his eyes off the ball as the snap came back to him. But as you mentioned, he's got that backyard playmaker ability to him. He's not going to give up on the play until he's certain that it's done.
Vincent Smith now in a tailback for Michigan. 2nd and 9. The throw is too high and incomplete. Terrence Robinson, the intended receiver, flag on the play, and that may be a personal foul penalty on the high hit, and a new area of emphasis for the officiating crews throughout college football.
Personal foul, defense, number 8. High hit against a defenseless player. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
We talked to Roy Roundtree about it, that the problem with Denard Robinson is he's laid a couple of his receivers out this season.
And Roy Roundtree, the first question you asked him about that hit from UConn, you just sat him down and said, "Are you okay?" And he knew exactly what you were talking about. This just an errant pass from Denard Robinson, and Mike Lee, you know, you have to get out of the old school mentality a bit because they are emphasizing protecting wide receivers in that situation.
Anything above the shoulders will bring a flag these days. On the slant, pass complete to midfield. And a Michigan first down. Artavius Odoms out of Pahokee, Florida with the grab.
There's some playmakers available in this receiver core. Just about continuing to find ways to get them the football. Robinson's been extremely active up to this point in the season, consistently hitting guys right in the numbers.
And now the tempo comes into play for Michigan as Robinson takes off, and he is bottled up for a loss of 1. Now for the Auto Owners Insurance starting defense for UMass. Potvin, Byrne, Flanagan, and Jackson. Good job on that play up front. McIntyre, Mealy on Holmes. Tremendous linebacker for UMass. Davis, Viveros, Thelen, and Lee. And Kumar Davis already has a pick today. Incomplete. Hot off the hands. Looking for Terrence Robinson for the second time. Rich Rodriguez told us yesterday that he's happy with the offense. He's not necessarily happy with the tempo. Why is tempo and pushing of it so important to Michigan?
Because his offense is generated around the ability to make the big play, whether it's on the ground or through the air. 35.5 minutes per game so far is not where he normally likes to operate. The caveat he did put on it was that because we've got some younger players on the field, it's helped them to more effectively execute.
They really struggled on 3rd down last week against Notre Dame after being fantastic against UConn. Robinson, deep ball, complete, down to the 5, and a Michigan first down. Kelvin Grady with the grab. Was that off his back foot? Michigan quickly to the line again. They always knew Shoelace had the arm strength. They waited for the accuracy to come. It is here. Shaw to the goal line. And down at the 1-foot line. 2nd and goal for Michigan.
And both Denard Robinson and this coaching staff, they've raved about the play of the offensive line. Watch Robinson here in the pocket. They brought a late blitz, but he's able to stare down the barrel, and he puts the ball where you want it to be. Go long, throw long in this game of football. Put it out in front of the receiver, giving him an opportunity to make the play.
Michigan going out of the eye on 2nd and goal. Again to the ground game. Touchdown, Michigan. Michael Shaw into the end zone, and the Wolverines grab their first lead of the game. Seth Brookhuizen will handle the kicking duties, at least for now, and he's made back-to-back extra points over the last 2 games. A 43-yard strike from Denard Robinson set up this 1-yard touchdown plunge from Michael Shaw. '22nd-ranked Michigan with its first lead of the game, 7-3 over UMass. Stay tuned, because starting today, the Big Ten Network unveils a new series that counts down the top athletes in the conference's rich history. Today, we unveil number 20. And Michigan fans, you don't want to miss this. Former Michigan great and Heisman winner Charles Woodson, Big Ten's Icons, hosted by Keith Jackson, premieres today at 4 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network. Charles Woodson, in this piece this afternoon, you'll see talks about players making plays. To highlight his fantastic interception against Michigan State. And he said that's what separates players in college football. Those when they have the stage to make the play, going through with it.
First primarily defensive player in the history of the Heisman Trophy to win the award.
That 43-yard completion on the scoring drive came on a 3rd and 11 for Michigan. From the 10, this is Torrey Asolomi. Asolomi trying to get to the perimeter. Nice block on the edge. And Asolomi takes it all the way out to the 33-yard line. Another solid return for UMass. Michael Williams with the stop for the Minutemen. 3rd possession now for the UMass offense. And quarterback Kyle Havens. What have they done so well so far today?
They've run the ball effectively enough, but they're going to need more out of that ground game. And some of the adjustments Michigan's going to make defensively, you're going to see them put 4 guys at the line of scrimmage more consistently to combat it.
It's a pass on the run, bobbled and complete for a gain of 7 on 1st down. That was their fantastic tight end, Igwenagwu.
And they had Craig Rowe up there at the line of scrimmage, and he's playing in a 2-point stance. You're going to see him knife inside on this play, and that allows him to put the pressure on the pocket. They let him move in either direction once he's there lined up over the offensive tackle. He's got a 2-way go.
2nd and 3, Hernandez. 1st down carry before Mouton can bring him down. Also in that, on that tackle, Jordan Kovacs. And today, the United States Marine Corps salute today's leader of the game, Kovacs, who tried out for this Michigan team not once, but twice. First time open tryouts, he made the team, but he had a bum knee, underwent surgery on his own dime, rehab in his own gym, and fought his way back to join this team, and then earn the respect of his teammates with a monster game off the bench against Notre Dame last year. Hernandez with a few on 1st down.
That's certainly the quickest way to earn the respect of your team, to come up and make 17 tackles in a game, as Kovacs did.
That 17 tackle performance came against Michigan State. After that, he cemented his spot as a starter. The funny thing about his great game against Notre Dame is he lost his starting job the next week when the player he subbed for returned healthy. 2nd and 6. Havens play action, has time, and complete. And a first down to Julian Talley. 19-yard gain for UMass.
First down, Massachusetts.
And when you've got James Rogers and Cam Gordon, 2 defensive backs that were playing wide receiver just a few months ago, spacing and communication are the toughest things to adjust to because they're both guys that are willing to be physical as DBs. But especially when you run zone coverage, you have to be able to communicate with the guys next to you.
Kyle Havens has passed UMass into Michigan territory twice so far today as Hernandez takes it on first down for 1. Let's take you down on the field and check in with Lisa.
Tom, you were talking about Jordan Kovacs. Rich Rodriguez found him during a student body tryout. His first year, he had 60 random students trying out, and Coach Rodriguez joked that some of them hadn't even played in high school. He thought one guy was actually from the band, but out of that group, they found Jordan Kovacs, and what a player they found, huh, Tom?
It's been a woodwind out there trying to make the team. In fact, winded would be the key word. He said when we have the open tryouts, the first 45 minutes, nothing but running. If you make it through that, then we'll give you extra looks. Just had open tryouts a couple weeks ago again and kept a few guys in the team. Had plenty of kickers anxious to try out. A whistle before the play got off. And UMass uses its second timeout.
Timeout, Massachusetts. That's their second timeout.
This is a key drive for UMass partner with 42 seconds left in the first quarter and a second opportunity in Michigan territory.
And they've been methodical in their approach, mixing in the run very consistently. And Kevin Morris told us they're going to run the football, and if they can have success with that, it sets up their quarterback, Kyle Havens, to be able to manage the game. And that's all they're looking for out of him. Just manage this game. The 15 interceptions he had last season is part of the reason that they were basically a mediocre team in a program that's had a lot of success.
35 yards on the ground in the first quarter for UMass. Later today, the Hoosiers hit the road in a battle with Western Kentucky. Coverage starts at 5 Eastern today in HD on the Big Ten Network. It's the Hoosiers and Hilltoppers. Big Ten road game for Indiana after 16 days off from their Thursday night opener against Towson. That is a long layoff. Be nice to have that maybe late in October. I don't think anybody wants it in September.
And it's tough to plan for that as a head coach when you're going to have such a long layoff between game 1 and game 2. I believe he managed it well. How do you go through training camp and get your guys ready to face the opener and then have that time off before you get to game 2?
2nd and 9, empty backfield here for UMass. Hernandez in motion will come back to the backfield. They fake the toss. Havens on the run, and another UMass first down through the air. It's Anthony Nelson with the grab. Let's take you back to Chicago and Dave Rebson in the studio for Discover Game Break.
Thank you, Tom. Terrell Pryor, we showed you the TD pass earlier, and a touchdown run this time. As Pryor takes it in, the Bucks are rolling up 17-0 over the Bobcats.
In control at home, Ohio State. Here, UMass looking to regain the lead against Michigan. Dumped out to Hernandez. Can't find his way past Mouton, but he makes it to the 15-yard line. If you're UMass, you score first, you get a Michigan takeaway, and you're knocking on the door again to start the second quarter. The first quarter of football at the Big House in front of the largest crowd UMass has ever played in front of is exactly what they ordered up. But 22nd ranked Michigan leads UMass 7-3 after one quarter in Ann Arbor.
The State Farm wrap-up immediately after the game, only on the Big Ten Network.
7-3, Michigan in front of UMass. UMass driving right now, 2 possessions for Michigan, and so far an uneven performance from shoelace Denard Robinson.
His first interception in 72 attempts came in this first quarter. He threw into double coverage, and that's basically what it came down to. Both safeties were over the top. He tried to fit it in there. It was well played.
Kyle Havens on the other side has been consistent for UMass. They're using the ground game, and here they use a reverse And UMass to the 10. Anthony Nelson with the carry, and he got to the line and picked up the first down. Nelson is one of a handful of transfers on this UMass program, not only Division I transfers and a couple from Syracuse and Virginia Tech, but Nelson came from Hofstra, where they disbanded the program overnight in December, leaving a host of players to find new places to play. Nelson was the leading receiver for Hofstra last year. He's been a nice addition and what will be a one-year standout for UMass. Hernandez, right side to the pylon and in, and UMass reclaims the lead. Greg Robinson told us that Jonathan Hernandez can accelerate. And that's exactly what he did when he hit the corner. A 10-yard touchdown run. Caleb Violet right with the extra point coming. First touchdown of the game for UMass. And Hernandez, a junior from Leominster, Mass, with his third touchdown of the season.
And it's about movement at the point of attack. As soon as Havens extends this football, you can see the offensive tackle and both tight ends getting movement right here. No blue jerseys in the backfield. That's what allows Hernandez to bounce it outside. He's not the fastest back in the world, but he's got the vision to be able to turn the corner when it's blocked that well. See how they blocked down on the defensive end, and he pressed the hole for just long enough to draw the defense inside to him, and then he bounced it and turned the corner. It was really well executed, not just up front, but the patience of the ball carrier is what really makes that play effective.
There have been some shockers between FBS and FCS schools this season. Jacksonville State against Ole Miss, North Dakota State against Kansas, and South Dakota on the road against Minnesota last week. The headliner so far has been James Madison going into Blacksburg and taking down Virginia Tech. Another short kick. This one will take a hop at the 20, and a flag on the play after the kick sails out of bounds. Michigan will have fine field position on their first possession of the second quarter.
Free kick out of bounds by the kicking team. The offense chooses to take the ball at the 40-yard line. First down.
6 wins for the FBS in the first 2 weeks against FCS schools. And the CAA has been the main culprit over the last few years. 19 FBS wins since 2000 for the most elite conference at the FCS level. 7 teams in the top 20, including defending national champs Villanova.
Playing FBS teams, nothing new to UMass. 4 out of the last 5 years, they've been within 10 points against this level of competition.
Blown out at Texas Tech a couple of years ago. Robinson with a stiff arm. That's enough to get by one man. And now the speed. Here he goes in shoelace. Taken under at the 40-yard line. Tyler Holmes with the stop. A 20-yard sprint for Denard Robinson.
Showing off that extra 15 pounds of muscle he gained, didn't he?
That was a weight room first down. Robinson bobbles a snap for the second time today and gets dropped by the middle linebacker, Mike Mealy.
Robinson kept the ball. Tackled for a loss by Mike Mealy.
And it's the minute details of the position, especially in an offense like this where there's so much ball handling in the backfield. So you would say maybe the focus coming into this game so far appears that it's not at the level it was in the opening 2 contests.
5 wide here for Michigan. 2nd and 17. Robinson, design draw, burst up the middle. That'll set up a 3rd and 10 after a 7-yard gain for the sophomore from Deerfield Beach, Florida.
And the question to Rich Rodriguez so far early in the season has been, can Denard Robinson hold up physically? But everyone needs to remember he's a true sophomore. You referenced him being 19 years old. The mental aspect of it is going to be important as well.
And he gets swallowed as Mealy comes in on a middle linebacker blitz once again. Are they using Mealy to spy on Robinson, or are they just flat sending him the last couple of plays?
Between Mike Mealy and Tyler Holmes, these are two linebackers that will shoot the gaps. And so right there, as he shuffles sideways, just getting outside the box, he's watching Denard Robinson to see what the play is going to be. And he's got the option either way. He can stay back there in coverage or go ahead and dart it. He decided right there to shoot that bullet.
First time Robinson has been sacked this season. Fair catch asked for. And at the 14-yard line, that's where Julian Talley takes it after a 35-yard punt. First sack of the season for Michigan, makes him punt it away. UMass back on offense after this. Time now for today's Verizon Key Connection. And Michigan has long been a home for overperforming, undersized players. Desmond Howard was just 5'10". Jamie Moore is tremendous running back, 5'7", a $185. Mike Hart was 5'9", and Denard Robinson looking to continue that tradition. Don't forget Don Warner, who started on the defensive line for Bo Schembechler in 1973. He came in at 5'10", 175. He told the legendary coach, "I'll be playing for you soon." Well, Bo may have been angered by the fact that he was so forthcoming. He finally found his way into the starting lineup. They were undefeated in '73 and had that legendary 10-10 tie with Ohio State. Burst up the middle, and UMass picks up a first down. John Griffin with the carry. Griffin was a first-team all-conference performer last year at Northeastern in Boston. Told you about Hofstra dropping its program. Northeastern also dropped its program. The day after the season ended, the players were told to clean out their lockers. An announcement would be forthcoming. They thought their coach was being fired. Instead, they folded up the program. Another pitch, Griffin on the left side. Rich Rodriguez knows all about programs going away. His very first head coaching job in college football came at Salem College, just outside of Roanoke, Virginia. He was a 24-year-old head coach, and 2 weeks away from his wedding, he was driving a brand new spiffy red Ford Probe. That's when we got phone calls, and the AD stopped by the office and said, "We've been bought by a Japanese university. They're shutting it down. Find your football players another place to play." Rich Rod landed on his feet as a volunteer assistant and a driver's ed teacher the next year back at West Virginia. Second down and a whistle to stop play. UMass will talk about it.
Timeout, Massachusetts. That's their third and final timeout of the half.
And so UMass uses its third timeout here in the early going. 11:25 to go before the half. UMass leads Michigan 10-7.
Big Ten Network Football is brought to you in part by Verizon. Own the airwaves. The signal is yours. Verizon. Rule the air. By fresh, creamy Hass avocados. Nothing else will do. And by Sonic. America's drive-in.
Football fans, you can create your own football highlight reels each week with the Big Ten Football Mashup presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Go to mashup.big10network.com right now to compile your favorite plays and share them with your friends. Some favorite plays already for UMass fans as they lead Michigan on the road in the Big House 10-7 out of their final timeout of the half, 2nd and 3. Havens with the handoff to Griffin. He's got the first down, and a stutter step takes him to midfield before Floyd and Izay bring him down.
Griffin was a 1,000-yard back last season. Allows them the latitude to work that rotation in the backfield, and it's tough as a defense to be able to prepare for two separate running styles.
85 yards on the ground for UMass. Griffin was 5th in school history. The 5th running back in school history to gain 1,000 yards. There will never be another at Northeastern, and so he will forever be on in those record books, even if nobody cracks him open again. Mike Martin told his defensive coordinator Greg Robinson this week, "I need some opportunities to get after the quarterback." He just made his own opportunity.
And you don't get many of them as a zero technique nose guard, but there he is, number 68. Watch him make the quick move just to the left of the center, knifing through that gap. When you can hit the A-gap that hard, it's so difficult for the guard to be able to slam down as they usually like to do on the nose tackle.
First sack of the season for Martin, 12-yard loss. He grew up a huge Michigan fan. First time in a big house homecoming against Iowa when he was a high school freshman. On the ground, Hernandez picks up a couple. This will leave 3rd and forever for UMass. Greg Banks with the stop. Banks and Martin still talking with their old buddy Brandon Graham, who's starting at defensive end for the Eagles. They're just down the road at Detroit tomorrow in a game that will air on Fox. They said Graham keeps texting us saying, do what you do, go out there and ball. And on back-to-back plays, Banks and Martin doing just that. 3rd and 19. Draw. Nothing doing. Mike Martin swallowed him up. Martin took up wrestling in high school. When he learned that his idols Lamar Woodley and Terrence Taylor did the same, he ended up a 2-time state champion.
Precisely what I anticipated from Kevin Morris. Don't take any chances. Play the field position battle again with the level his defense is playing at. If they can pin them down, then you're working your way through the rest of the half.
Violet muffs the snap, has to hustle, and he gets out a ground ball. Gallen tried to field it. Oh my! And UMass has a chance. Loose football, and Michigan covers it. Nearly disaster on both sides of the ball. And Brandon Hawthorne finally falls on the loose ball. Pulses are up throughout this stadium.
Especially that of Kevin Morris. Had to go rugby style just to get the ball away. When you're on the punt team and you have an opportunity just to allow the ball to roll, you got to do it in that situation. Not a good idea in the open field. And of course, we know the football is oblong. So as it rolls around the ground, no idea where it's going to end up.
Good hustle by Hawthorne after the 41-yard punt. On the run, Robinson delivers a strike to the flat. Gain of about 4 to Roy Roundtree, sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio. That's one of the reads for Denard Robinson in this offense.
He has the opportunity to, as he fakes the play action right there in the middle, he's got the option to either give it, keep it, or throw it out there on the bubble.
We asked him how he was able to pick up the offense over the summer. He said, I finally learned it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. I have 3 reads, 1, 2, and 3, and we go from there. Here he calls his own number and carries it for a first down. And Denard Robinson takes it past the 35, up to the 36 before Darren Thelen brings him down after a gain of 16.
Coming right at you, Denard Robinson makes the cut. And it's a bit of a zone read, the zone blocking scheme as he does it. It brings the defense laterally, and now he's got the opportunity to make the cut in either gap that he sees.
Out to Roundtree. Roundtree makes a man miss. Cuts it back inside and gets folded over at the 44-yard line. Let's take you back down to Lisa.
About the quarterbacks. So much is being made about the quarterbacks. Who's number 1, who's number 2, who's number 3. When Denard Robinson was sitting out that last series, I can tell you Tate Forcier was the first guy to come up to him, give him a high five. And then he spent most of that time talking to Devin Gardner. All guys are visibly working to be good teammates and very supportive of their starter.
Lisa, great job. Thanks. A swing pass to Shaw. That'll go for a first down. More on the quarterbacks after this, but first, a Discover game break. And back to Dave Revsin.
Thanks, Wayne. The Wolverines aren't the only ones who are in a battle. Illinois is as well with Northern Illinois. Chandler Harnish, 38-yard touchdown run here. The Huskies have missed 2 extra points, but they still lead 12-10.
Thanks, Dave. Here's Robinson again. Shaw, his lead blocker, and Denard Robinson will set up a second and short.
Brought down by Mike Mealy.
Mike Mealy with the stop for UMass. You know, talking about that quarterback situation, Partner, I think a lot of Michigan fans came into this game thinking, let's wait and see what the third quarter looks like. Will it be Gardner or Tate Forcier? Let's wait and see who will get snaps in a blowout win. It's not shaping up like that.
And you and I talked about it before the game. We certainly weren't expecting that this would be an easy victory for the Wolverines with the way UMass has run this program.
Brandon Potvin is the injured UMass player. Freshman from Worcester, Mass, out of Holy Name High School. Tremendous program at Holy Name. And Potvin gets a look.
And of course, that quarterback situation gets so much attention because of not only the program itself, but the importance of that position in the Rich Rodriguez offense.
Rich Rodriguez told us yesterday Devin Gardner could really use the snaps, and they'd love to see how he can acclimate to this offense with more opportunities to play. Shaw just back to the line of scrimmage. Denard Robinson has shown his speed a time or two this season.
And of course, the track star that he is, once you give him an opportunity to have some momentum moving towards the line of scrimmage, look at this clip right here. He is at the 34-yard line.
He's too quick for our replay machine, and Denard Robinson out at the 25. Gain of 20. Fallon finally with the stop. Flag at the end.
The tempo and pacing of the Rich Rodriguez offense, and I believe some of the miscues that have happened so far may have awoken the sleeping giant of Denard Robinson.
There's no foul on the play. The penalty in question, there was not a late hit out of bounds. First down.
You be the judge. Darren Fallon. It looked a lot worse than it was because the kicking net was so close, and Denard Robinson got rolled up into the net. Smith picks up a couple. Picks up 5, as a matter of fact. Tyler Holmes, preseason All-America with the stop. He's a junior from Blacksburg, Virginia. Robinson with 505 yards on the ground, more than Brandon Minor had all of last year.
And for this offense to continue to excel, they need to find that Steve Slayton to his Pat White.
Kevin Byrne, freshman from Mashpee, Mass, mashes the run. And perhaps a loss of 1 that time. 3rd and 6 coming up for Michigan. Need a play here. Michigan's offense has looked inconsistent so far this afternoon. Robinson wants to throw on the line. Incomplete. No flag. Looking for Roundtree. Closing coverage by Shane Viveros.
And Viveros was one-on-one back in the end zone. And the angle of this pass is made more difficult to defend because Robinson has left the pocket. Well defended from Viveros.
Seth Brookhuizen will attempt a 38-yard field goal. He and Gibbons were in competition this week for the Michigan kicking job. Got the distance. Yanks it. And so the kicking game remains inconsistent for Michigan. Instead of a tie game, UMass still leads by 3 as the Michigan offense stalls in UMass territory. It'll be Minutemen football when we return to the Big House. Today's Case IH Alumni Spotlight features Charles Woodson. There wasn't much he couldn't do.
Not only the most talented defensive back in the country, but the ball skills that you see in a clip like that show you why he was so effective as a wide receiver and maybe even the best punt returner in the country. I had to chase him around so many times as I was on the punt coverage team early in my career in his Heisman Trophy season.
You ever catch him?
Once.
UMass football. Havens hands off, and JT Floyd wrestles Hernandez to the ground. More Charles Woodson coming your way, because starting today, the Big Ten Network unveils a new series that counts down the top athletes in the conference's rich history. Today we unveil number 20, former Michigan great and Heisman winner Charles Woodson. Big Ten Icons, hosted by another great, Keith Jackson, premieres today at 4 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network. Folks, you don't want to miss that. Anthony Nelson with the catch, pardon me, and a first down for UMass with 4:10 to go in the first half from the big house.
It was basically a glorified carry that they gave him. They just motioned him across the formation, allowed their quarterback to move the pocket and deliver the football to him short. He is their speediest wide receiver, the guy they count on to be able to go the distance.
Clock ticking under 4. Remember, UMass has used all 3 of its timeouts, used 2 of them in the first quarter. The ground game has been effective, and it is once again here for Jonathan Hernandez, who will stop the clock with a first down after a 10-yard gain. Cameron Gordon, the freshman from Detroit, with the stop.
And there's times where your offensive line is going to move the line of scrimmage and they're going to knock people off the ball, but as long as they can maintain their blocks, a guy with the vision and patience that Jonathan Hernandez displays carrying the football, he will be able to find a crease in the defense.
First and 10, 3:30 to go. Havens flushed by Rowe, and he will step out of bounds to face, bring up a second in about 7. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report with scores and highlights from today's games. I don't know if UMass can score on this drive, but they may be happy just keeping the ball out of Michigan's hands before the half ends.
You're exactly right. And I believe what you're going to see as the game progresses is Greg Robinson begin to challenge their wide receivers more than he has up to this point.
Quick drop, quick slant, and a first down for UMass. Down to the 35-yard line. Dan Sheeran, the transfer from Syracuse, had 4 grabs against Holy Cross last week in a score.
And that's an example of exactly what I'm talking about, where Sheeran gets a free release off the line of scrimmage and gets just beyond the chains. No hands on him, no defensive back in your screen as you're looking at that, because Sheeran is able to just work beyond the sticks before anyone's near him.
Hernandez gets by Mouton and gets to the edge again. How about the acceleration from Jonathan Hernandez? JT Floyd finally pops him out of bounds.
Now everything working in unison for this Minuteman offense. You can run the ball with consistency against any defense. They have to hunker down a bit more to try and control it. Dominance in the total yardage category, 214 for UMass on offense.
Griffin now in a tailback. The big tight end, Iguanagu. Here's Griffin. Picks up 5 on first down. Jordan Kovacs with the stop. UMass with an opportunity to deliver a message here with under 2 minutes to go before the half. They struck first with a 3-0 lead. Then picked off Denard Robinson. Michigan scored, and UMass added a field goal while Michigan missed a field goal. Griffin again, and again a first down. They're stopping the clock without their timeouts as Kovacs has the stop, 1:25 to go.
And Griffin made a really nice jump cut in the hole because they ran a wham play, bringing blockers across the formation. He had to stop on a dime and get beyond the sticks.
Michigan uses a timeout with 1:22 to go in the first half. UMass looking to add to its lead. (10-7), UMass leads 22nd ranked Michigan. Tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday, the Bears look to stay undefeated as they head to Dallas to take on Tony Romo and a Cowboys team trying to recover from a tough Week 1 loss. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon Eastern with the Fox NFL pregame show. Check local listings for the games in your area, including Brandon Graham and his Eagles at Detroit. Hernandez gets the carry. He has daylight and a UMass score. 7th rush on that 9-play drive. Anthony, they just knifed through the Michigan defense. Violet for the extra point.
Executing the formula to perfection. You're going to see Samuda pull around here and lead him up the formation. And again, Hernandez just has such great vision. And he's so slippery. I mean, he's not running through contact as much as he is just finding the angles to avoid it. When I'm talking about them executing to perfection, the game plan coming in is lead the time of possession. 18:51 right now for UMass, 9:52 so far in this game for Michigan. That two-headed monster in the backfield is putting in work.
And Michigan came into this game 4th in the nation in time of possession, better than 35 minutes a game. 2 scores already for Jonathan Hernandez. He had a 3-score game last year against mighty Stony Brook. The only previous Minuteman to pull that off was Matt Lawrence, who's now with the Ravens. Brendan Levengood will handle the kickoff duties here for UMass. Daryl Stoneham from the 11. Stoneham ducks his head and takes it out to the 33. A return of 23 for Michigan. 1:12 to go for Michigan. What do you predict we'll see on this possession?
I believe you've got to stay aggressive if you're Michigan's offense. We've seen them try to take a couple of opportunities to throw the ball downtown, more so than they have in the first couple of games.
Denard Robinson out of the shotgun. Shaw releases from the backfield. They try to set up the screen. It is a beauty. Daryl Stoneham, and he may go. Touchdown, Michigan. Flag on the play. "66 yards if it stands."
Illegal substitution on the defense. The penalties decline. Result of the play, touchdown.
Denard Robinson isn't the only game breaker. Seth Brookhuizen will attempt the extra point. Brookhuizen's got it. And Michigan's got it going again. It did not take long. Answering the UMass score with one of their own on a 66-yard catch and run to Stoneham.
And it didn't take the deep pass to be able to get it done because of a well-called play. They allowed the defense to get upfield, and that's what you need on a tunnel screen. Can you eat up the angle as you're working downtown? And Daryl Stoneham, he's got the jets once he gets out in space. Well blocked on the outside, too. The blocking of the wide receiver core has been stellar throughout the season so far. You have players that all want the football in their hands, but are you willing to give yourself up for your teammate?
Well, the bulk of the Michigan offense today comes on that one play. Remember, they had a 73-yard completion wiped off due to penalty. Brookhuizen with the extra point, and now Gibbons will kick off. Tori Esalomi, senior from Tampa, Florida, deep for UMass. Squib kick handled by an up man. And what an opportunity for Scott Duggan, senior from Hudson, Mass. Little used as a returner, and he grew up an enormous Michigan fan, and he gets a touch here in the Big House. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report with scores and highlights from all of today's games. Denard Robinson, 144 through the air, 60 on the ground, and that one touchdown. He has accounted this season for 88% of Michigan's offense coming into the game. Griffin in the backfield. UMass out of timeouts. Mouton coming on the far side blitz. Gets a hit on the quarterback, but the pass is incomplete. Boy, Mouton had a long way to go to get to Hayden.
And it showed the athleticism that he possesses because he closed on that quarterback. But this will be the test for the UMass offense. Will Kevin Morris trust his bunch to try and put some points on the board here?
Havens has been fantastic, 9 of 11, 104 yards, but the big dagger has come from that ground game. UMass looking to take a lead into the locker room. Michigan has timeouts remaining. On the ground, first down, all the way past the M, and the ball came loose. Michigan says they have it. A Michigan takeaway. Kovacs. Kovacs with an interception against Notre Dame last week in the third quarter, and now his strip after a 19-yard run gives Michigan another chance. He flat stole it from John Griffin.
Right at the same time he's making the hit, knifes in there and rips the football away from the running back.
First and 10, Michigan. Robinson wanted to take off, but a whistle to stop the play before it got started.
The previous play is under further review.
Whoa! That whistle came in the nick of time, perhaps, for UMass. Mike Cannon, our referee. Verl Sell is in the replay booth.
It was one of those plays that was difficult to tell in live action at what point the football came out.
Our first review, official review of the day.
It doesn't matter if the defender's knee is on the ground. That ball carrier, he doesn't have either knee on the ground as he's moving forward.
I think
it's a great angle
right there.
Great angle on it. Ruling on the field should be confirmed.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Michigan.
Jordan's dad, Lewis, a defensive back in 1982, was also a walk-on. Jordan has done something his dad never did. He's earned a scholarship here at Michigan.
This is a defense that only forced 16 turnovers the entire season last year. They've made the effort to work on that throughout spring ball, throughout the summer. They've hammered that away throughout training camp this year. Rip at the football, make plays as defensive backs when the ball's in the air.
You see at the top of the screen the two dashes. Michigan has 2 timeouts remaining. Robinson takes off, slips on the turf, picks up 4. And a quick Michigan timeout. Denard Robinson wants that one back.
It's interesting when you look at the fact that they're willing to try to make these big plays, running the football on the ground and throwing short tunnel screens because they trust their playmakers to run after the catch.
Next Saturday, it's another slate of great Big Ten action presented by the United States Marine Corps. Check local listings for the game in your area or go to BigTenNetwork.com/GameFinder to find your school's game. Austin Peay at 11th ranked Wisconsin, Ball State at number 10 Iowa, who has a big one tonight out in the desert in Tucson. It's kind of like a triple option offense in that regard, Anthony, because they don't need to go to the air for big games. They don't need to try and get vertical. They have enough team speed at the skill positions to turn in a big play on a play that may originate behind the line of scrimmage.
And part of what you saw on that tunnel screen was now they have the linemen and the body types that they need to be able to get out in space and block people on those types of plays to be effective.
Robinson showed his arm strength a couple of times earlier this game. And now with 5 wide receivers has time. Over the middle, first down, Michigan. Junior Hemingway back from injury, and a big-time reception for the junior from Conway, South Carolina.
The thing that's impressed me most about Denard Robinson throughout the season is he makes the reads quickly and gets the ball out of his hands.
Quick read here, dumped off for a Michigan gain to the 10 to Kelvin Grady. Michigan uses another timeout here. That time Denard Robinson, as they come to the sideline, motions to Hemingway to say, my bad. He wanted Hemingway on that play in hindsight instead of Grady. Junior Hemingway didn't play because of a hamstring injury last week.
And the thing you don't want to see in this offense is a quarterback that stands in the pocket and pats the football. He hits that third step, looks downfield, and as soon as his foot hits back, he's got that quick release that gets it out there. And he threw it in the midst of the defensive backs. He underthrew this ball on purpose because the safety had worked over the top.
23 seconds left in the half. How many shots can you take, and can you turn to the ground game?
Wouldn't surprise me one bit if they do, especially because now the defense is on their heels.
If they run it, they would have to hustle back to the line. They can stop the clock with a first down at the 5-yard line. Robinson over the middle, batted away, and it falls incomplete. That will stop the clock. 20 seconds remain in the first half. 3rd and 4 for Michigan. Robinson 8 of 12 for 186. His first pass of the day was forced over the middle and intercepted.
He talked to us about getting comfortable in the offense. He was able to throw the football last season, but it's knowing where to throw it and to be able to anticipate your reads.
3rd and 4. First down, touchdown, Michigan, stone 'em. Robinson to stone him for the second time. Michigan needs just 29 seconds to drive the length of the field and score a go-ahead touchdown before the half. 16 ticks remain.
And how quickly the tide turns in this ball game. UMass wants to possess the football. Michigan says we don't want to have it quite as long as we have been. And another quick read from Denard Robinson, and he's got a live arm. I don't care how small the guy is. When the football leaves his hand, it jumps off there, and it doesn't take a long time to get out to the wide receiver.
When Calvin McGee went to Deerfield Beach High School to recruit Denard Robinson, the coaches knew he was there. And on that day, Denard did nothing but throw. A little bit out of character for a typical practice, but Denard and his high school coach wanted to prove to Michigan that he could throw the football. He's done so again today. Another short kick from Gibbons, handled by Essaloni. Essaloni with a seam, and he takes it out to the 37. 11 seconds left. UMass trails, and they don't have any timeouts left before they hit the locker room.
I believe what makes sense right here, just stop the bleeding. No need to try to throw a flea flicker, get downtown, anything like that. I think you either run the ball, you take a knee, if you're Kevin Morrison, get your team into the locker room.
Emotionally, what's UMass going through right now after, I don't want to say dominating, but being in control for the majority of the first half?
Certainly some disappointment with the way they ended that half, and that's going to be the test for this coaching staff going into the locker room. Can they convince their players that they outplayed Michigan in this first half, no matter what the scoreboard says?
First half comes to an end here at Michigan Stadium with the Wolverines surging ahead behind the passing of Denard Robinson. We've had a thriller here through the first half. 3 lead changes. And as we hit intermission, it's Michigan in front of UMass. two ranked teams. Michigan back in the rankings for the first time in a couple years at 22 against ranked UMass. Let's take you down to the field, and Lisa.
Your defense gets the big takeaway, but the rushing attack has been a problem. How do you shore that up in the second?
Well, we've got to execute better offensively and defensively. We're not playing very well. We got to get off blocks better. We've lost contain a few times on defense, and we just got to tighten up the second half.
What different looks is UMass giving Robinson today?
Well, they're doing some different things. They're bringing a little bit of pressure and forcing us to throw, and that's okay as long as we execute. The key is execution.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Pressure indeed from UMass, a couple of quarterback hurries, and one key sack from linebacker Mike Mealy. We hit the break with UMass trailing Michigan after a thrilling first half. It's 21-17. We'll take it to Chicago after this. Back at the big house where 22nd ranked Michigan leads UMass 21-17, 14 unanswered points for the Wolverines. Let's take you down to the field now. Lisa Byington with UMass head coach Kevin Morris.
You're down 4 points here at Michigan. What is your message to this team going into the second half?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you said, Lisa, but kids played a real hard first half. Now, obviously, at the end with the turnover and then the touchdown, not where we wanted to be going into halftime, but we're certainly in the ball game. It's played well enough in the first half to give us a shot to win this ball game in the second.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Big Ten football is brought to you in high definition by Philips Televisions. What a scene here in Ann Arbor and at Michigan Stadium, the largest crowd UMass has ever played in front of. Twice the number of people in the stands than they had last year at Kansas State in front of 50,000. A game that they turned the ball over a couple times in the second quarter, but rallied down 4 on their final 3 possessions, but couldn't beat the Wildcats out of the Big 12. We start the second half. Stoneham was the star in the second quarter. Here he is. Stoneham to the 32 to start for Michigan. It took only 35 seconds for Michigan to wrap up back-to-back touchdowns, 14 unanswered points, a 6-second drive and a 29-second drive. Denard Robinson has 94% of Michigan's yards today. What are we seeing different from Denard today?
I think the offense is more out of sync in this game, or at least they were early. When you compare to the first 2 contests where they seem to be so succinct, they seem to be executing at such a high level.
Only 64 yards on the ground for Robinson in the first half. He has stood up and takes a couple of pops, including one from Kevin Byrne after a gain of 2.
And I don't believe schematically you've seen UMass throw much at Michigan that's, out of the norm. They've mixed the fronts a bit. They've gone with 3 down. They've gone with 4 down, brought a bit of pressure, but really they've just executed the way they need to.
Second and 8 out of the shotgun. The reverse. This has been a big play for them so far this season. Kelvin Grady just came into the game specifically for this play, and he takes it up to the 48-yard line. A gain of 14 on second and long.
And this is why UMass has been a little bit skittish to bring additional pressure, because the more people you commit to forcing them to penetrate into the backfield, it's so much tougher to be able to retrace after you get out of that position.
Denard Robinson getting a lot of help from his wide receivers today. We expected the running back Smith and Shaw to play more of a role. Now Shaw hears us and takes it for nearly a first down. 2nd and 1 coming up. It wasn't just us saying that and the Michigan fans, but the Michigan coaches. Rich Rodriguez had Noel Devine at West Virginia. He had Steve Slayton. He's waiting for one of these guys with more opportunities to take off.
And they've talked about giving additional opportunities to some of the other younger backs, guys like Michael Cox and Tariq Jones, who may see action today.
Fitz Toussaint is also back healthy again, even though he may not be 100%. We expected to see him, but haven't yet. Robinson wanted to pitch it and wisely holds on. Mike Mealy with the stop. Shaw was supposed to be his lead blocker, didn't block it, then Robinson thought about the toss.
And luckily for the Wolverines, he thought better of it as he held the ball in his hands. And this is what's asked of you. You see the big guys up front moving people for Michigan, and he was going to do it for a second, and actually it appeared to be Mealy who kind of stopped him from getting the ball out of his hands.
Bobbled the snap a little bit. Robinson cuts back in. Picks up nearly 7 on first down. Tyler Holmes, junior from Blacksburg, Virginia, had a monster game against Holy Cross with a sack, a forced fumble, and a pick, and 10 tackles in their Week 1 win against previously 4th-ranked William and Mary. Shaw hesitates. Now he bursts! Michael Shaw to the house! 34-yard touchdown run for Michael Shaw. Brookhuizen on for the extra point. High snap. 21 unanswered points for Michigan. The Wolverines march down to start the second half on a 6-play, 69-yard drive. The possession of the game may be coming up for UMass.
28-17 is now the score at the Big House, and this is where it sets up the action right there, but the 3 big guys who get that block. You're going to see the running back come right across the formation as Denard Robinson makes this handoff. It's the movement they get inside that allows Shaw to make that cut right in the hole, and they had committed so many people into the box that there was no safety help remaining to be able to retrace and make that play.
Second touchdown of the day from Michael Shaw out of Dayton, Ohio, Trotwood Madison High School. He was a Pee Wee League teammate of Roy Roundtree. They played together in high school as well. The wind took the ball off the tee. And Seth Brookhuizen, who has earned the kicking job and still sharing some responsibilities with Brendan Gibbons, will re-tee it. UMass has been solid in their return game thus far today. And this may be the most important possession of the game for the Minutemen. Jesse Jewel-Misty to the 20. Hits his own man, makes a man miss, and takes it out to the 25. A long and winding road for UMass to get here. Let's take you to the field and Lisa Byington.
Yeah, Tom, this Minutemen football team is playing with a very competitive heart. Their band is playing with a very heavy heart. They lost their band director on Thursday, Professor George Parks. It was unexpected. They made the trip from the bus over to Ohio, and during a performance, after a performance at the high school, the school said he died of an apparent heart attack. So in his honor, they're wearing those black armbands that you see there. They chose to make the trip up to Michigan and continue and to play in his honor. The song they're going to play today, Tom, My Way.
Well, it was their way for the first quarter and a half on the football field. That time, Hernandez with the carry. The UMass band, it can't be understated. Just like here at Michigan, plays a key role in the football program. They were 1998 Sutler Trophy winners as a top college band in any division. Now, Michigan won that same award, the inaugural award, in 1982. George Parks, for 33 years, was really the face of home games and road games, for that matter, for this UMass football program for better than 3 decades. He was such a key part of UMass athletically and academically as a music professor on campus.
And there were 2 things they talked about George Parks really wanting to see accomplished for UMass. One was to get a new center built for the band program. They're going to open that up in March. And, of course, to see his students, to see the people that he's cared for over the years come here to the Big House and play in front of one of the largest crowds in college football history.
The UMass band played the pregame and at halftime, received a very nice ovation from this knowledgeable Michigan crowd that knew exactly the situation. 3rd and 4 for UMass. They need this conversion. And it's good for a first down. Talley breaks free to the 48-yard line. What a completion. Kyle Havens has been magnificent at quarterback today.
And he rifled this ball out to his wide receiver because J.T. Floyd was in position to make the play, but it's just those inches that separate you from making a play or for giving up extra yardage. Love the hustle there, by the way, finishing the play from Mike Martin. Man.
Havens has hit on 10 of 13 attempts, 120 yards, his best game as a Minuteman. Good job up front for Jonathan Hernandez. We haven't talked much about the UMass offensive line. This is an enormous offensive line, especially by FCS standards. They average 309 pounds. The left tackle, Nick Speller, a Syracuse transfer, goes 6'5", 330.
And he's the one who's taking the place of Vladimir Dukas, the second-round pick that went to the New York Jets. And it's an experienced group aside from that, and a group that they mass, like you said, an average of 309. It's going to be similar to what Michigan sees in Big Ten play.
Martin wraps up the ball carrier for a loss of 3. Speller is one of those Division I transfers. Greg Nyland, the left guard who played tackle last year at Northeastern, is one of those FCS transfers that came from programs that have since disbanded, Northeastern and Hofstra. Nyland played left tackle the last 3 years for Northeastern. There's a list. Transfers from FBS schools. Syracuse, well represented. Those 3 guys all played for Greg Robinson, now the Michigan defensive coordinator. 3rd and long. Incomplete. Nelson, the intended receiver. Floyd defending, and for one of the first times today, Havens unable to put it on target.
Greg Robinson likes to bring some additional pressure in 3rd down scenarios, and Jonas Mouton came from the short side of the field right in the face of the quarterback. Havens got the ball out of his hands on time, but the throw was errant because of the pressure in his face.
At midfield, would UMass bother to fake it? 4th and long. Violette gets it away. Pressure was on it. Gallen waves everybody off. UMass grabs it at the 6. 45-yard kick from the sophomore Caleb Violette. It may have left a few yards on the table that time.
Big Ten Network Football is brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance. Get to know the independent agents representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. By Polaris. See the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicle now at your local dealer. And by the Cooper Tire Take the Money and Ride national event.
Michigan leading by 11. Denard Robinson and company backed up after that fantastic punt, and Vincent Smith takes it up the middle for a gain of 4 on 1st down. Michigan has scored 21 unanswered points after trailing 17-7. They trailed for a grand total at that score of just 6 seconds after Darryl Stoneham catch and run. Kick started this Michigan surge. Denard Robinson will take this one himself. Gets a great block, and he muscles his way to the 19-yard line. Mike Lee with the stop. Denard Robinson, through the first 2 weeks of the college football season, led the nation in rushing, and he led the nation in total offense. He was on pace for 2,700 rush yards, 2,500 passing yards. That would shatter all records. Everyone knew he couldn't keep up that pace. That's just common sense. Is this more like what we'll see from Denard Robinson over the course of the season?
I believe you're going to see him be more dynamic in other games moving forward. Michigan's offense was stagnant, I believe partially because they've had such emotional victories. You come out in the season opener and defeat a UConn team who some picked to defeat Michigan, and then last week's Notre Dame game with the game-winning drive. I honestly believe offensively they seem to come out a bit flat today. They've got their wheels turning a bit more now moving forward in the game. It's an offense that I think can execute at a higher level consistently than what we saw throughout today's first half.
Impressive against UConn when he completed 86% of his passes, second best in Michigan history. Deep ball here, Stoneham. What a grab! Oh my! With the shoulder pad exposed, he hauls it in at the 31. 47-yard gain.
This is the element we didn't see as much of in the first 2 games, them allowing Denard Robinson to throw the football downfield. When you get a one-on-one matchup as an offense to be complete, you need to be able to make them pay.
Perfectly placed ball by the sophomore from Florida, Denard Robinson.
See the matchup again there at the top of your screen.
On the ground, Smith tried to turn the corner, gets about 4. Antoine Tharp is in at that cornerback spot. Come on, Bailey, their 5th-year senior, is out with injury.
I love the fact that he puts touch on the football out in front of the wide receiver. You don't see these passes coming up short. He puts it where the wide receiver is the main person in that play with an opportunity to make a play on the ball.
Tharp is just a freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Only had 1 tackle coming into this game for the first 2 games. Bailey, one of their leaders in the secondary, is out with a groin injury. Smith. What a cutback. And Smith takes it down to nearly the 15-yard line. And Michigan on a roll now.
And UMass has started to feature more man coverage as the game's gone on. And that's where some of these shorter runs start to turn into longer runs, because on the outside, the flank of the defense, when they've got their backs turned, the run support isn't available.
329 yards of offense for Denard Robinson. Smith again. Hit in the backfield, bounces off 2 would-be tacklers and takes it to the 8. Gain of 7 for Vincent Smith, the sophomore from Pahokee, Florida. Pahokee High School is a legendary football program down in southeastern Florida. They have 2 traffic lights in town. They have more players active in the NFL than they have traffic lights, including Fred Taylor and Anquan Bolden. More Pahokee Blue Devils are on his Michigan team than the town has lights. 2nd and short. Smith. No. Robinson. Shoelace scores. Brookhies in the PAT. 28 unanswered points for the Michigan Wolverines. Denard Robinson knifes his way into the end zone, and the Wolverines in control. Starting today, the Big Ten Network unveils a new series. It counts down the top athletes in the conference's rich history. Today, we unveiled number 20, former Michigan great and Heisman winner Charles Woodson. Big Ten Icons, hosted by the iconic Keith Jackson, premieres today at 4 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network. Oh, Denard Robinson came just maybe a year too late to make the list, but right on time for this Michigan program.
Future icon, perhaps?
Current savior. Is that too strong? Nah, too misty. Powers his way to the 30-yard line. And Michigan well represented on the list thus far. The TV show premieres today. Jim Abbott, icon number 36. Desmond Howard struck the pose, said hello to the Heisman. And Kazzie Russell, Michigan guard back in the 60s. Glenn Rice, Michigan powerhouse, national champion. Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, also representing Wisconsin. When will we see another number 1 jersey on the field for Michigan? Charles Woodson, number 20, checks in today, hosted by Keith Jackson. You do not want to miss it. 1st and 10, UMass. John Griffin, senior from Westminster, Mass. Brought down by Cameron Gordon, freshman from Detroit Inkster. Gordon had 2 bad plays against Notre Dame. Greg Robinson told us our defense is young enough that we will make some mistakes, and we'll make some mistakes and give up some big plays. We've got to be good enough to recover from those big plays.
The patience they're showing as a coaching staff with players who've played multiple positions, who've been moved over from opposite sides of the ball. That's what's needed in transition. That's what transition is all about.
Kovacs with the stop. 6 feet, 195.
Of course, patience not always a virtue when you're the winningest program in college football history. People are used to certain results that have been there in the past.
The players are used to that. Mike Martin told us he grew up a Michigan fan. He considers it an honor to suit up in the maize and blue. And he could not believe that once he got on campus, they saw the winning streak and the bull streak come to an end. Anthony Nelson picks up a first down. It was fun visiting with Martin yesterday, the junior out of Detroit Catholic Central, to see the pride that he has for this program and the pride that he has wearing those school colors.
All 3 young gentlemen that we visited with yesterday, Mike Martin, Lloyd Roundtree, and of course Denard Robinson, impressive just to be able to sit down with them, and they spoke very candidly about the direction they wanted to help lead this program.
Hernandez takes it for 9, setting up a 2nd and 1.
It's certainly interesting just when you think about the position that these young guys are in, and I went through it a bit myself. At the University of Iowa, I had 2 years under Hayden Fry, and then we transitioned into Kirk Ferentz for my last 2 years there. And you're asking 17, 18, 19-year-old young men to be able to represent themselves in front of the national media going through a difficult time when they had certain expectations coming to this school. Impressive how they've been able to deal with it.
Call it 2nd and 2 for UMass. Hernandez trying to get to the century mark. Picks up 1 for 92 yards. Let's check in with Lisa.
Tom, expanding on your point about Mike Martin, his idols growing up were Terrence Taylor and Lamar Woodley. In fact, he kept their bios up in his room. And that's why he was interested in wrestling and track, because he said that's what Terrence Taylor did. So what's he do? He goes to win a state title in wrestling his junior year, and he broke former Spartan TJ Duckett's shot put record with TJ's dad watching. I don't think Terrence or Lamar did anything like that.
No, and they probably didn't get congratulatory phone calls from TJ Duckett either. His dad, after the record was broken, handed the phone to Mike. First down on 3rd and 1. And on the other line was the former Spartan running back. He broke Duckett's record, 65 feet 11 inches. And TJ on the other line, knowing Martin was going to Michigan, simply said, good luck in your future.
The Wolverine fans have certainly seen plenty of T.J. Duckett in the past. He was a teammate of mine with the Atlanta Falcons. That was an explosive individual. Mike Martin, an explosive man in his own right at the nose position.
Big 3rd down pickup for UMass on that previous play. Here's Hernandez on the right side, and Hernandez surges forward for nearly 5 yards. Well, perhaps this is the danger zone for UMass as we near the 4th quarter. Theirs is a very slow developing offense, very talented running game, but they just don't seem to have the quick strike capability like Michigan does.
And you've seen them stick with their methodical approach so far here in the 3rd quarter.
Havens has plenty of time. Complete. Dan Sheeran for a first down. Obieze with the stop.
And coverage-wise, there's been a couple of opportunities for them to try to throw the ball downfield to Anthony Nelson. They've actually been effective with that throughout the season so far, with him being their deep play threat. But that's the one phase of their offense they haven't been able to take advantage of. I think Kyle Havens has played well, but at some point he's going to have to take a shot to get a quicker score.
First and 10, UMass. Swallowed up at the line of scrimmage is Hernandez. Biggest crowd to ever witness a UMass sporting event. There's sport traditions at UMass. The biggest crowd they played in front of prior to today was 53,000 at Texas Tech. Red Raider win 2 years ago. Today, 110,187.
And I don't care the size of crowds you played in front of before. When you come to the Big House for the first time, it's certainly an awe-inspiring experience.
The third largest non-racing stadium in the world. Internationally, a couple of soccer stadiums are bigger. That's it. 2 of them. Incomplete. Looking that time for Julian Talley.
It's just a question of how do you respond to it. Kyle Havens right there off the play action fake. Had an opportunity to get this ball to Julian Talley. Just running a dig route right through the coverage. He threw it on time, but didn't get quite enough loft on the ball. Talley tried to go down and get it for him to pick his quarterback up, but couldn't make the play.
They're down coming up. UMass has been pretty good on third downs thus far today, but this is a 3rd and 10. Trying to set up the screen. No dice. Floyd blew it up. James Rogers in on the tackle for Michigan.
Really well executed. The defensive back right there in coverage because the blocker tried to get out in space. They were going to run that similar tunnel screen, but couldn't execute it because the corner had knifed into the backfield so quickly to make the tackle as soon as the completion was made.
4-down territory for a UMass team which has struggled with its kicking game and has given up 28 consecutive points to Michigan. Strips right. Havens flushed. Will throw on the run. Complete and past the first down marker. The tight end, Rob Blanchflower, got his first career start last week against Holy Cross.
Kyle Havens keeps his head about him. He's got Craig Rowe chasing him from the backside. He just moves the pocket slightly, delivers the football to his big freshman tight end, and Blanchflower's done a nice job. He got that start last week because Emil Iguanagu was not in the game.
Iguanagu fighting his way back from a foot injury. He's had 1 catch today, and now Blanchflower moves the chains. Kevin Morris and Kyle Havens talk on the UMass sideline. The Minuteman drive will continue as we head to the 4th quarter from Michigan Stadium. And now let's take a look at our Chex Mix fan cam. Chex Mix on game day. We're made to mix.
Looking much happier now at this point in the game than they were in the first half.
UMass has converted a couple of 3rd downs and a 4th down here on this drive. John Griffin is the tailback. He takes it over the left side, cuts back over the middle, trips up, and down to the 6-yard line. Jordan Kovacs with the stop for Michigan.
Griffin with the high knees working through the hole, trying to make up for that fumble he had in the first half.
Thirteen-play drive, 6:35 off the clock for UMass. Injured Michigan player Greg Banks, 5th-year senior from Denver, replacing Brandon Graham at that end spot. Mike Martin talked about the play of that defensive line. He's awfully proud of the job that those 3 and others have done up front.
Between Martin, Banks, and Ryan Van Bergen, those have been 3 guys that have taken that leadership role for the defense. And Greg Robinson talks about how important it is that they're able to do that. That you can count on your players to try to start directing traffic because they've been in your system a couple of years now, and to help the rest of the teammates understand what you're trying to accomplish.
Bruce Tall is the defensive line coach from Michigan. Ronaldo Sagase will replace Banks at the end spot. Sagase from Montreal was named as the 5th best prospect leading up to the Canadian Football League draft. 2nd and a short 1. Out of the eye. Duggan is the fullback, leading the way. No love for the running game. Ryan Van Bergen. Van Bergen, 6'6", 283. He's long been a big kid. Back when he was playing pee-wee ball, his mother, Tony, had to bring his birth certificate to the games to convince the other parents that he was young enough to play. UMass has converted 5 of 10 third downs today. And they, on their last drive, converted a 4th down. So they don't need it all here. And they will likely go for it on 4th as well. Play action. Got a man. Havens is going to take it to the goal line. And he is in. Touchdown, UMass. Fancy footwork down the sideline for the senior Kyle Havens. When asked before this game if Havens would be intimidated by Michigan, he said, it's not like we're playing the Patriots here. You know, kids dream of playing in Michigan Stadium, and I understand that, but not me. My team is Cal. His team took a licking last night. And now UMass ends a 28-point Michigan run with his touchdown run that is under review.
And a very candid answer there from Havens. No disrespect, I believe, intended to Michigan as a program or to the big house. Just saying that he and his teammates aren't going to be intimidated walking in here, and I don't believe they were. And the play on this bootleg is eerily similar to a play that actually they just ran a couple of weeks ago in their opener against William & Mary.
The replay question is, was Havens' right foot out of bounds at the 1-yard line?
Just
Pardon me, his left foot.
Tightrope the sideline, and that left foot as he steps across before he's extended the ball out. The officials are going to have to see an angle where they can tell.
Play stands. That last replay, you could see a sliver of green between his cleats and the white sideline.
And there, of course, needs to be indisputable video evidence for them to overturn the call on the field.
Extra point is good from Caleb Violet. And Kyle Havens deked his way in, faked like he was going out of bounds, and cut back to the pylon. It's an 11-point game. Fancy footwork from UMass quarterback Kyle Havens gets the Minutemen on the board here in the second half. Look at that teeny tiny sliver of green between the shoe and the sideline.
And the field judge was in perfect position right there to make this call. We spent plenty of time ragging on the officials. He was right there on the spot, exactly where he needed to be to make sure it was in the end zone.
Havens, junior college transfer out of Diablo Valley Junior College. He's a North California boy. And a fair catch taken for the second time on a kickoff by one of the Michigan upmen. That's where Michigan will take over as Mark Mundros, linebacker / fullback. 15 plays, 70-yard drive, 7:31 off the clock for UMass. You know, we're going to get to a point perhaps in this fourth quarter. It is an 11-point game, and UMass is certainly in this game. But we may get to a point in the fourth quarter where head coach Kevin Morris can use this game, even with a loss, to prove to his team that they can play with anybody, to come on the road in front of 110,000. Even though the CAA is the most high-profile league in 1AA, to prove that they can hang with any of those other 6 ranked teams in their conference. Michigan has to use a timeout here.
Timeout, Michigan. That's their first timeout of the second half.
Well, that's rare, coming off of the kickoff and straight off the sideline, to have to burn a timeout here. Let's take it back to Dave Rebson in the studio for a Discover Game Break.
Okay, Tom, checking in on Ball State and Purdue. Rob Henry in there for the banged-up Robert Marr. Just how they drew it up. 76 yards off the deflection of Cortez Smith. 21-6 Boilers. They are knocking on the door again.
All right, thanks, Dave. Purdue trying to bounce back from losing their fantastic receiver, one of the key components to their offense.
Dual threat guy in Rob Henry as well. I believe he's going to keep the same elements to that offense available.
Text keyword Rotel to 20284 to enter the Rotel Feed Their Game Face sweepstakes. Winner will receive 52 weeks worth of groceries and a trip to a college football game. Message and data rates apply. Text STOP to quit. Now, no one's been able to stop Denard Robinson so far this season, although he had a slow first half. Michael Shaw up the middle. Nothing slow about Shaw today. And look at this bounce outside. Shaw still rolling. And he takes it all the way down to the 23-yard line. 52-yard sprint by Michael Shaw.
And the point of attack is where this starts. I mean, up front, they are moving people off the ball, and you don't even need to knock the line of scrimmage back as much in this offense, but they're able to execute it that way, and then that gets Shaw into the secondary.
Smith this time over the left side. Shaw just got an earful from Rich Rodriguez immediately before this game.
And he's able to make that cut because the line of scrimmage has been knocked back. And that's the element that having a guy like Denard Robinson out there, because the outside linebacker doesn't flow quite as quickly, just waiting on that quarterback to leak out.
Did you see Denard Robinson at the very end trying to throw a block? He beat Shaw to the 23. And here goes Smith. And down to the 11-yard line for the sophomore from Pahokee.
That was a freshman in there, tackle Taylor Lewan, who's over there moving bodies, playing next to Stephen Schilling right now. And Schilling and the center, David Molt. That's the combination right there inside that's been able to be so effective for this group, and especially David Molt at center. When he left the lineup last season, that's when this offense took a turn for the worse.
Shaw stood up at the 4. Good to see Taylor Lewan, the freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona, in the game. Offensive coordinator Calvin McGee said he wanted to get Lewan some reps. Made his career debut against Notre Dame in a goal line situation last week. Tremendous talent. Still a youngster at left tackle. Second and goal. Second is short. Touchdown. Shaw. Third score of the day for Michael Shaw. Calvin McGee's got a good one. Michael Shaw committed to Penn State when he saw his high school teammate Roy Roundtree on signing day wearing maize and blue. Shaw went, uh-oh, I can't go to Penn State. Changed his mind and now wears maize and blue himself. The junior from Dayton with a career day for Michigan.
Big Ten Network Football is presented by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. Verizon, own the airwaves. The signal is yours. Verizon, rule the air. By Philips Televisions, so amazing you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. And by Rotel and Velveeta. Try Rotel and Velveeta's famous queso dip, the ultimate game day snack.
The State Farm Wrap-Up immediately after the game, only on the Big Ten Network.
.42 points for 22nd ranked Michigan today, 510 yards of total offense. Seth Brookhuizen will kick off. It's Tori Esolome from the 3 to the 25, now to the 26-yard line. Today's sprint epic run features Michael Shaw.
The 50-yarder from Michael Shaw, running through contact and then switching gears, getting into the open field. Career-long 50-yard run for Shaw. The sprint epic run.
It's the 7th big play of the day for the Michigan offense. Big play, anything over 20 yards. and 6 of them have gone for 36 yards or longer. 1st and 10, Kyle Havens to the sideline, tipped. What a grab! Great reaction by Nelson, and it will go for a UMass first down. Flag on the play.
It appeared as the receiver ran out of bounds. He was the first person to touch the football coming back onto the field.
No, he wasn't. It was tipped.
Ah.
So that flag thrown when he goes out of bounds, but if he established his feet back in bounds, he would have been an eligible receiver. Here's the call.
There is no flag on the play. The pass was tipped. Thus, the receiver that went out of bounds is eligible to come back in and make the catch. First down.
Again, eye discipline from my partner. I'm digging it. Saw that tip from way up here, did you?
19-yard gain. Floyd got a hand on it. Now the question is, was he in bounds?
Was he still out of bounds?
Yeah. But regardless,
the reception.
I've been pretty impressed, and I know you have too, with the UMass offense today. The running game has been fantastic. The O-line, led by John Ime, the senior center who's helped off the field here, has been great. And their skill position guys have proven to be dangerous.
There's a reason they've been so effective running the football, because of a willingness to commit to it as a program. It's not just the 2 talented men in the backfield. It's guys like John Ine up front who've been able to move bodies.
Take another look. If Nelson was indeed in bounds when he made the catch, if he was, it was by a toenail.
This play is under further review.
Eligible since the ball was tipped to come back into the field of play and be an eligible receiver, but you have to get back into the field of play.
He certainly appeared to be dragging the toe. Just a matter of ruling whether or not, as he gets possession of the ball, is that toe still out, or was it dragging back in the green part?
Only 1 foot needed. Tough to see John Ine, by the way, go down for UMass, their center. Started the first 2 games last year. Shoulder injury, ended his season early. And he was helped off the field by the UMass trainers here moments ago. Another look at the would-be catch after the tip by Floyd and the reaction by Nelson. Nelson is one of those Hofstra transfers. The surprise in the CAA when Hofstra disbanded their program was that Hofstra had such a great football history. Guys like Wayne Corbett and Marcus Colston were shocked when they folded up shop. Now Northeastern also disbanded their program at about the same time last year. They had been underperforming for a number of years and weren't drawing fans. Hofstra was a different story.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. Completed pass, first down.
And again, one of those plays where there has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Really impressive effort there from Anthony Nelson. Just to have the concentration after it's tipped in his body in that awkward position to be able to bring it in, only with his hands.
1st and 10, UMass. John Griffin to midfield. Submarine after a 4-yard gain for UMass. Obieze with the stop. Obieze and Mark Mundros have proven to be a very good combination middle linebacker for Michigan. What Michigan has going on at several positions, especially on defense, is competition that continues to make each and every player better. A strike on the run for another UMass first down. Well, the official 2010 Big Ten Network Football iPhone app delivers the best way for you to follow your favorite Big Ten team with the latest live game tracking and individual player and game stats. Follow along live and stay up to date with the latest Big Ten news. You'll even have easy access to the Big Ten Network television schedule, so you'll always know when your favorite school will be featured on the air. Download it free today. After the first down grab, Griffin again. Martin and company up front. Second and 10.
Talking about Obi Eze at the linebacker position, there's been a rotation between he and Mark Moondros there. Moondros actually approached Rich Rodriguez. He went to the coaching staff and said, I'm the starting fullback, but I feel like I can help this defense out if you play me at LB.
Haven gets away, throws on the run, intercepted. Cameron Gordon comes up with it, fumbles it right back, and UMass may have gotten their hands on it. It was Nelson at the bottom of the pile. UMass football. 3 lead changes and sometimes possession changes within one play. We saw it on the punt in the second quarter. It's the first interception thrown by Kyle Havens this year after 15 last year. And Cameron Gordon had that one come right to the numbers.
Cam Gordon was a highly rated wide receiver coming out of high school. Certainly thought there was going to be a good opportunity for him to help this program moving forward on offense, but Greg Robinson just loves his skill set at the free safety position, and he's got his hands on the football, but then he gave it up. Excellent hustle from the Minutemen, not wanting to give up on that play, let alone this game.
It's a difference of 10 yards for UMass on the change of possession. 1st and 10. Into the right side goes Griffin.
Griffin, the ball carrier.
Physical ball carrier. Here's the very end of the Gordon interception return. Knocked out by Julian Talley.
He got the hand in there right at the point where Gordon was trying to bring it in. He had it meshed, trying to bring it in there tight to the rib cage, and Talley was able to get his hand in there. Ugly things happen at the bottom of piles in those situations. Things you cannot say on television.
Feel free to keep that to yourself. 2nd and 5, pressure on, incomplete. Looking for Anthony Nelson.
Something takes over you, Tom. I was a completely different person at the bottom of a pile than I am in my home life.
Some things the general public is just better off not knowing. UMass putting together another impressive drive. Havens uses a timeout here. First of the second half.
Timeout, Massachusetts.
Big game for UMass, not only here in the Big House, but back in Amherst, where Derek Kellogg is hosting a viewing party for the UMass faithful. Number 22, Michigan leads UMass 42-24 from Michigan Stadium. Now for the Rotella, they'll be a combination of the game. Denard Robinson finally has his Robin. Daryl Stoneham, suitable superhero, 3 catches, 120 yards, and 2 scores today from his tailback spot.
Extremely efficient work from Robinson with the 10 out of 14, 240 yards through the air. They made some big plays in the passing game.
3rd down. UMass has been fantastic on 3rd downs today. On the ground, Hernandez. Dragged down by Martin. Mike Martin has been a monster up front today. Last year against Wisconsin, he turned in a career-high 10 tackles, which may make sense against Wisconsin's running game, but it's still mind-boggling that a nose could turn in double-digit tackles.
He's in a 2 technique there, just inside shade on the guard, able to fight across and not just hit the block, but able to make the tackle on the running back.
UMass has already converted 1 4th down today. Haven fires complete. 1st down to his tight end, Andrew Crevice. Crevice, a transfer from Eastern Michigan, used to play just down the road.
And they've got versatility at the tight end position. So you'll see him just work through the formation, just run a quick out route as he comes through. Well-delivered football there from his QB, Kyle Havens.
Crevice's first career catch as a Minuteman came last year on the road against Kansas State. They went for a 4-yard touchdown. On the draw, Hernandez inside the 10. Gain of 6. Another tackle for Mike Martin. Perhaps the biggest tackle of the week for Mike Martin, however, came in practice Thursday afternoon. With Denard Robinson within earshot, he made a point to let us know that he caught Denard in practice.
And you love that as a defensive lineman when everyone's talking about him being the fastest player in the country, 4'3" quarterback, 60-meter champion. Like Barnes said, I ran you down.
Here it is, Hernandez again to the left side and to the 1-yard line. First down for UMass. Eze with the stop. Cameron Gordon in there from his safety spot. And the 9-yard gain sets up first and goal. Hernandez with 113 yards and 2 scores today.
And I believe his vision is the most important aspect of his game. I mean, the athleticism is great, but the vision is stellar from Jonathan Hernandez. I have rarely throughout the game today seen him pick the wrong hole.
I formation. 3 tight ends. A whistle. And Havens hates it because he thinks they have the right play dialed up.
False start. 50 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Josh Samuda, sophomore from South Florida. This is a UMass offensive line which is rebuilt, but 2 years ago they only allowed 6 sacks all season. That was second nationally under the direction of then offensive coordinator Kevin Morris. Their former head coach Don Brown is now the offensive coordinator at Maryland. Nothing doing behind the line. Hernandez stays on his feet, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Martin changed his direction. This is a UMass offensive line working with second-string center Quentin Sales. At the Big House, Michigan Stadium, in front of 110,000 fans. It's Big Ten Network football. Tom Hart alongside Anthony Herron and Lisa Byington. 22nd ranked Michigan leads UMass 42-24. UMass has held multiple leads in this game, including 3-0 and 17-7. But the Wolverines fired off 28 unanswered points to take control. Second and goal, Havens. Touchdown, UMass. Good look to Talley. The Michigan DBs were giving chase.
That was well defended from Jonas Mouton because Kyle Havens wanted to deliver the ball short to his running back, but Mouton was right there in position. So Havens just stayed calm, continued to move the pocket, and threw it to the back of the end zone.
UMass will go for 2. Try to make it a 2-score game. And trail by 10 if they can push it in. Havens flushed. They got a hand on him, but that's it. Still has time. Across his body, and Kovacs with the pick. Kovacs had a pick against Notre Dame last week. And he stymies the 2-point attempt here against UMass.
That's mechanically not what you want to see from your quarterback, but you're going for 2, trying to make it a 2-score game. It's a chance you have to take. Looking at this previous touchdown, the patience that it takes for Havens to be able to make this happen. Delivers it to the back of the end zone, and you're going to be able to work with your quarterback. When he's on the move, it's important as a wideout to continue moving with him, coming all the way across the formation. Well-delivered ball, good execution on the route from Julian Talley.
Anthony, let me ask you about them going for 2. With an extra point, it's an 11-point game. A field goal and a 2-point conversion with a touchdown ties it up. Now you go for 2 here and don't get it. You're down 12. You need 3 scores.
And so your question is, was that the proper call to go for 2? I believe the thought process right there from Kevin Morris is that they're going to attempt the onside kick because they did it last week in their game against Holy Cross. So I'd be surprised if you don't see an onside kick right here because it really defeats the purpose of going for 2 if you don't.
Another short one. A chance for a Michigan return. Stoneham slips on the turf. Second time we've seen the Wolverines slip on the turf today.
Darryl Stoneham returned the kickoff. The 37.
Don't forget, after our game today, the Big Ten Network unveils a new series that counts down the top athletes in the Big Ten's rich history. Today, number 20, former Michigan great and Heisman winner Charles Woodson, Big Ten's icons. Hosted by a legend, Keith Jackson. Premieres today at 4 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network. I think Mr. Jackson would like this fantastic booth in this redone stadium.
In the bigger house. I mean, he termed this stadium the big house years ago anyway, so yeah, I think he'd love to come back here and call a game from the newly revamped bigger house.
Vincent Smith with the carry. High above Michigan Stadium. A little bit different from the old setup here.
There they go.
Or so I'm told.
Uh-huh.
This place is bigger than my hotel room.
Much nicer also. Marble everywhere. Not bad.
2nd and 9. Denard Robinson takes off. And Denard Robinson picks up 8. Shane Viveros with the stop. This stadium has grown and grown since it opened in 1927. They eclipsed the 100,000 seat mark in the mid-50s. In 98 grew to 107, and the latest remodel 109,901, better than 113 grand in here for the rededication ceremony. They were hanging off the rafters, and had a chance to chat with athletic director Dave Brandon today. He said it's been well received among the fans. And another change coming to this stadium on Thursday night. The Board of Trustees passed the opportunity for them to add lights to Michigan Stadium, permanent lights. Michigan uses a timeout here. Seating capacity now greater than Penn State, Tennessee, with changes to Neyland Stadium over the last couple of years, down to 104,000.
3 out of the top 4 on that list. Big Ten stadiums. In the arms race that is college football attendance, Michigan retaking the lead from the Nittany Lions.
One more change coming to this fantastic new look. Permanent lights will go on the top of both towers on either side of this field, just approved Thursday night by the Board of Trustees. And those lights will be installed this season. They won't be in use this season, though. Take a look at Michigan's remaining schedule. Bowling Green is up next, and a trip to Indiana before that Michigan State game on October 9th. And then the meat of the Big Ten Conference.
And all the hype and the excitement around this start through coming into today, the first 2 games, and now looking like Michigan will get to 3-0. Last season, they got to 4-0, had an opportunity at 5-0 before Big Ten play started up. So still haven't even gotten to the level they were at last season before the season fell apart on them.
4-0 start last year for Michigan. Brookhuizen drops a snap, has it blocked. It was the fullback, Duggan, who smothered it, and UMass better than an onside kick. They force a 3 and out, and now get the ball at the 25 with 3:33 to go. Scott Duggan, a senior from Hudson, Mass, is a huge Michigan fan. He couldn't have dreamt of making a play like this.
The hacksaw himself, Scott Duggan, coming up with the big rush on the punt return team.
He's been a Michigan fan since he was 3 years old, and this week to find his Michigan gear, you'd have to dig down to the very bottom of his closet. On 1st and 10, they're going to throw. No, tucked back by the running back, and down to the 20. John Griffin wanted to throw that ball on a halfback option. Perfect time in this game now for UMass, which has been playing rather conservatively, now to tip into the bucket.
And to me, that last play was a key look at Cameron Gordon making the transition into being a big-time safety. Well defended by him.
Complete to Dan Sheeran for a first down, a gain of 12 on that pass from Kyle Havens. Defensive coordinator Greg Robinson sees one of his former players, Sheeran, at Syracuse, move the chains against him. And this defense all of a sudden put in a tough position after the block punt. Havens is 20 of 27 for 209 yards today. Checks down and finds Talley, and Talley leans forward to the 7.
And you're right now seeing Greg Robinson put his defensive backs into a shell look.
And we welcome those of you watching Ohio State and Ohio Today. Tom Hart with Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington. UMass just blocked a punt and now driving to the end zone. Just past the reach of Sheeran, but a flag on the play. James Rogers, the former receiver, with the hold, and UMass will have a 1st and goal. On their last possession, UMass scored but went for 2 and came up short. So instead of trailing by 11, they trail by a dozen. Now with 2:13 to go, they'll be knocking on the door. Here's the call.
Pass interference. Defense number 18. Penalty occurred inside the 2-yard line. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
And James Rogers is one of the players that was just a wide receiver a few months ago. You want to get some hands on this wide out here, but he tugs at the jersey and then doesn't get his eyes around in time to try to make any play on the football.
1st and goal, UMass. Their ground game has been impressive today. Jumbo package here. The fullback Duggan is the one who blocked the punt moments ago. He may have jumped. Flag on the play. Out to the flat, and a UMass touchdown that will likely come off the board.
Illegal motion, offense, number 40, replay first down.
That shows you how anxious Scott Duggan is. Made the big play to put them in this position, but just got an early jump. Would have set up really nicely off the play action.
Not only do the 6 points come off the board, but now they're back to the drawing board with 2:08 to go. UMass has just 1 timeout remaining. Well, this might take the run game out of the equation. Jonathan Hernandez is over 100 yards to throw. Haven wide open, and he finds his tight end, Andrew Crevice. Crevice had a key first down in their last scoring drive. And now they'll kick the extra point to make it a 5-point game. Caleb Violette, the place kicker for UMass. And the Minutemen are right back into this game. It's a 5-point difference after the block punt. 6 wiped off, 6 put back on.
The versatility of the tight end position. You're going to see Crevice just work his way around the formation and again run an out route. And there was some confusion between Jordan Kovacs and Jonas Mouton again about who was supposed to be covering the tight end position in this formation. Talked to you earlier about the communication that's necessary as a defense when you're trying to work zone coverage. It's so key, especially when you got guys who aren't experienced in a current system that they're running right here.
Crevice had a score against Kansas State in their road loss last year, lost by 4 to the Wildcats, and here he is getting on the board in the 4th quarter. Stay tuned for the State Farm wrap-up for scores, highlights, and analysis of all of today's Big Ten games and more. So you thought onside last time. Instead, UMass pooched it. And now with one timeout remaining, you see Michigan at the top of your screen has 2. And UMass will use a timeout. Michigan uses the timeout, excuse me, so each team has 1 remaining. 2:05 to go for Michigan Stadium. And UMass, after giving up 28 unanswered points, seemingly was done for the day. But they have scratched and clawed their way back. Polaris' hardest working player is Michigan safety Jordan Kovacs.
And that certainly didn't begin today for Jordan Kovacs. Just to become a member of this Wolverine football team took all kinds of effort and adversity that he faced to get to that point, and now a starter and a scholarship player for the Wolverines.
2 takeaways for Kovacs. The forced fumble led to a last-second Michigan score in the second quarter, and the interception kept UMass out of the end zone on a 2-point conversion attempt. Michigan, if you're just joining us, scored twice in the last 35 seconds of the first half. And UMass hit the locker room with their heads bowed a little bit. They have come back strong here in the fourth quarter. Only 1 man deep for Michigan. That's Stoneham, who's had a monster day. The kicker is Brendan Levengood, a redshirt freshman from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. It went 10, but went out of bounds.
And never got that high hop that you're hoping for in the onside situation.
Free kick, out of bounds. Ball went out at the 40. Add 5 yards to the end of the kick. First down, Michigan.
Michigan has been a monster on offense again today. 517 total yards of offense for the team. And the team coming into today had been Denard Robinson. 345 yards of offense for Robinson. The sophomore out of Florida. 3 touchdowns for Shoelace.
And now an opportunity to run the game clock out for Michigan's offense.
Michigan's tailbacks have had a fine game this afternoon. That is Michael Shaw with the carry for 7.
Denard Robinson started the game early with an interception. But you know what? That didn't stop him from making plenty of plays throughout the rest of the game. So dynamic with his legs, but he's made the progression to become a quarterback, to be able to throw the football effectively. And as we saw today, not just the intermediate passes, but able to throw the ball with accuracy downtown.
He hasn't put up the gaudy numbers today, but the Michigan offense has been explosive, even if he hasn't. Speaking of explosive, today the Big Ten Network unveils a new series that counts down the top athletes in the conference's rich history. Today we unveil number 20. Former Michigan grad and Heisman winner Charles Woodson. Big Ten Icons, hosted by Keith Jackson, premieres today at 4 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network. Well, Bo Schembechler famously said he wanted a Michigan man. If you're looking for an option quarterback, you may want a Florida man. Denard Robinson is keeping the tradition going of tremendous run-oriented quarterbacks out of the state of Florida. Tim Tebow out of Nice High School was just the latest last year, but you can go back to Tommy Frazier, who won back-to-back national titles with Nebraska. He's from Bradenton. Anquan Bolden was a tremendous option quarterback at Pahokee High School. And how about Deion Sanders, who at North Fort Myers ran the triple option offense?
And for Big Ten fans, the only other quarterback that's gone for over 200 passing and 200 rushing within the same game, Antoine Randall, who had to chase around for years when he was playing at Indiana.
3rd and short. Shaw is the running back. McColgan the fullback as Michigan tries to ice this game. First down carry for Michael Shaw. He is today's Phillips player of the game.
The good reads and career high in touchdowns for Michael Shaw, but the big play element that he added to this offense, Denard Robinson had been the main ball carrier that went for the longer runs throughout the season, but Michael Shaw provided the impact in the end zone and also the big playability out in the open field.
Shaw added 15 pounds in the offseason to his 6'1" frame. And we have seen that strength in his running game today. Stay tuned for the State Farm wrap-up for scores, highlights, and analysis of today's games. Ohio State, big winner at home today against Ohio. Michigan ranked number 22 in the nation. Takes down UMass after a tremendous effort from the Minutemen in the fourth quarter. And so Denard Robinson, Rich Rodriguez, and the Wolverines go to 3-0 on the young season. Your final from Michigan Stadium. Michigan 42, UMass 37. For Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, I'm Tom Hart. Thanks for watching from the Big House today. Now we take you to Dave Revson back in the studio in Chicago after Michigan takes care of UMass 42-37.
Welcome in. It is the State Farm Big Ten football wrap-up. Michigan survives barely 42-37 against UMass, of the Wolverines. Moved to 3-0 on the young season. What'd you take from that one?
Piece of cake. Come on, they survived. Interesting that the ball was distributed much different this week offensively than it has been the last 2 weeks.
You know, I've been on them about defense, but ultimately defense stepped up and made some critical plays. Kovac came up and made some tremendous plays in this game, coming up with some turnovers.
Plenty more on this game as we continue here in the next 40 minutes or so. We will hear post-game reaction from that game as well as from Ohio State's win over Ohio University. And then don't forget, coming up in about 39.5 minutes, we debut our new show, Big Ten Icons, a countdown of the top 50 student athletes in Big Ten history. We are at number 20, the Heisman Trophy winner, Charles Woodson. A half-hour tribute to Charles Woodson, his story coming up as soon as we're done on the wrap-up. Of course, all the highlights, all the analysis in the interim, so keep it here on the Big Ten Network.